James is having soup again. I'm going to talk about my penguin friend. He's also having a raspberry hibiscus popsicle because he'd put in a request for popsicles well, really he put in a request for popsicle sticks, I guess, because he wants to use them for something. So
as kind of splints.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that, and he's going to be talking about Cantos again. So
the ultimate reviewing, like going through and it's not kind of a.
He's doing the equivalent of going through
stuff
with his blue pencil, which is what Ezra Pound used
would
to do to other people.
One time he grabbed a poet was reading off of it in public, apparently.
Which is really tough to do. It's very hard to read.
Yeah, just grabbed it and started marking it up.
Anyway. But, well, maybe it's easy for some people, but...
I don't think it would be difficult for Pound. It was a
very stressful
bag of wind.
Me to
do it,
but...
Someone once commented about Americans. They're characterized by breezy self-confidence, but with too many Americans, Donald Trump, for example, it's blustery overconfidence. You listening, Donnie? Think that, Don?
So, my penguin friend, this was a beautiful movie. I loved watching it. But I love watching, I love animals, I love nature. I love watching animals in movies. And maybe not some. The Spanish westerns or Italian spaghetti westerns where they have the horses being horribly abused. That was not good to watch.
Are you talking about the Clint Eastwood ones?
No.
Okay, just the generic.
No, I'm talking about the spaghetti westerns, like the Italian ones where they had the.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood. They were Italian productions.
Well, I'm not talking about that though. Because you're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly and stuff like that. Well, that's just one particular Hollywoodization of a genre, right?
It wasn't done by Hollywood. It was done by a guy called Sergio Leone.
Okay, but it's in English and it's.
Yeah. Really. So I was just wondering, I didn't know what you were talking about. I think I've just seen one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you have seen a lot because I had a bunch that I got on box sets.
Okay.
Spaghetti westerns from
Italy. I see. I know what you're talking. They seem to be eminently forgettable.
And sometimes you could even see the wires where they would trip the horses to.
God.
Yeah, horrible. So you know what happens to a horse once their legs get broken. So they were using the horses just as
stupid.
It was terrible. So anyway, but this is not that. This is a lovely little movie about a man he's a fisherman. Oh, I guess we had some fighting.
Yeah, a little territorial.
They ate all the food. I just noticed it when I put James' food. I should check their food levels before I put James's food out, because when we come out, then they come, and they're like, oh, but where's the food? And they get all upset about it.
Well, with each other, that's the same.
Yeah. So anyway, because, well, an easy way to befriend a bird is feed it.
Yeah.
Feed the birds and they will like you. Pretty much any animal, if you can give them food that they like, then they will probably like you. But anyway, so this story is about a fisherman, and he has this little penguin friend, because he finds this penguin and he's just washed up and he's near dead and he's soaked in oil, right? And so he takes him in and he gives him some fish, because the little penguin, he's really weak, right? So he gives him some fish and the penguin is okay with that, and then he cleans him up, and it takes a while for him to try to get this penguin clean and strong enough again that he can go out. And so then he takes the penguin. By then he really doesn't, he likes the man. He likes getting fed and taken care of. And but the man takes him out in his rowboat and back to where the penguin's supposed to be, and leaves him there. And then soon enough, well, here comes the penguin back. He's on the doorstep, because he likes the guy. And so anyway, the penguin, he tried to go hang out with his penguin friends for part of the season. Then he'd come back to the man and hang out with the man.
Is this based on a real story?
Yep, it's a true story. So that's what he did. He went back and forth, and he did that for 8 years. Went back and forth, and in the meantime, well, in I think Patagonia or somewhere, there were some people doing some research, and I guess they were tagging him. So at one point he came back and he had a little bracelet on his arm, and they were like, well, where did that come from? But anyway, so he was living in two places, and they were the people doing the study in Patagonia, like I guess they were funded by a university and stuff like that, right? So anyway, they were like, well, he's abnormal. And then one person said, well, he's unique, right? Like, don't say abnormal, that's not nice. But he was very tame and everything. And so then once somebody took a viral of this man with the penguin, somebody took a video of this man with the penguin and went viral. Anyway, they showed it on the internet, and then he gets some publicity, and then people are showing up. Now, honestly, I suppose the best thing that could have happened maybe would have been for him to never get publicity or anything like that. Maybe for his penguin not to be found by the university and studied. I don't know, because anyway, things, who knows what happened to the penguin. And at one point the university said, well, we want him in for study. You have to bring him in.
Oh, yeah?
And the woman who was doing the research, she's like, well, I don't think that's best for him. He's living in both worlds really well, and I don't think that's in his best interest, kind of thing. And she didn't want to do it. So
bring him in where? To the university? You scumbugs.
Yeah, and so anyway, I mean, this penguin's tame because of this man who's worked so hard. They show him at the end of the video. He's a toothless old man.
The guy?
Yeah. And he's worked so hard to take care of this penguin, right? And somebody else wants to study him? Like, that's...
He's tame because of the guy, but he's actually alive because of the guy.
Exactly. And twice. The guy rescued him again. So, so anyway, the
university, wherever you're at, you don't have any right to that penguin. You don't have any right to any penguins, you pukes.
Like, I know they'll put little anklets on the birds and stuff. They have a program at the college here where they'll catch the birds in nets at Pavan. We've seen them, and birds, they scare easy. They're little hearts, Anyway, I don't know how many. Heart attacks. Yeah, I don't know how many of them would make it to get the bracelets and to go. But we've seen the bracelets. When we're feeding some of them, we see, oh, yep, you've been. Somebody knows who you are. But honestly, I think the best way to catch them is with some food. Keep doing it, And yeah, it takes some work, to get them to trust you. But you certainly don't want to give them a heart attack. Anyway, but that's my opinion. And the people who put the bracelets on them and catch them in nets, they would very strongly disagree with that, because you're not supposed to be feeding the birds, whatever.
Well, the thing is, I don't believe in necessarily like the chickens we feed on us.
Yeah.
If animals are that tame, they're taming you.
Yeah.
They're taming you just as much as you're taming them. This penguin made a choice. The university doesn't have any right to mess around with that choice.
Yeah. Well, that's
So-
what the man was pointing out a lot of times. He's free to go whenever he wants. He comes and goes as he pleases.
Exactly
And he
right.
did, and that man did right by the penguin so many times, but the university did not. They didn't do it right by him ever.
Newsflash, universities, you guys aren't cutting edge at anything. You aren't cutting edge. What you are holdover from the Middle Ages, medieval era. You're a combination of theological sort of institution. The original universities were theological in nature, and you're theological, you're secular. You have your own little belief system or systems.
And anyway, so at one point in this movie, the penguin, when he gets back the second time, like he was almost dead, and the guy, he had all of his friends in fishing boats go out and look for the penguin. Because the penguin was like clockwork. He came back. Birds have migratory habits, and you can predict where they're going to be. Really, anyway, so he wasn't coming back, and the fisherman knew he was supposed to be back, and he was worried about him. So got all his friends together, and they went out to look for the bird. And he found him floating, and he was not doing well. He thought he was dead. He was crying, he was apologizing, and but he opened his eye, and you're like, oh, thank goodness. But that time, when he almost died, it was really the university's fault, because they wanted the people to bring him in, and the penguin had to cross a lot of unfamiliar terrain to get away, to get back to the water, to get back to his man, right? To get back to his friend. And he ended up getting beat up, and he had a harder time getting back. So anyway, so then at the end of the movie, they show, like, oh, I cried several times in this movie. It's so beautiful. But at the end of the movie, they say, after the 8th year, he didn't come back, and they didn't know why. And it's just expected that he found a mate somewhere, and he has a family, and it's like, no, that's not true. Don't tell us that at the end of the movie to try to make us feel better, because it's not true. If he had a mate and stuff, he has a tag. You'd know where he was. Because they're very habitual about where they go back to their same nest. So he's not around anymore.
So he made it 8 years or something?
Yeah.
And who knows how old he was already. I don't know what the life expectancy is now. At least I'm sure he had a wonderful life.
He did, yeah.
So it's important to dwell on that. But they do feel there was a little parrot that was somehow ended up getting tamed and taught how to speak and understand he was speaking. He wasn't parroting things.
And Alex, the African grey?
The last thing he said was, what was it?
I can't remember.
Something like "I love you," or maybe "Don't leave me," or something like that. I don't know why he said that. Maybe he was, "Don't leave me alone."
He knew he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, I don't know. I mean, I have mixed feelings about Alex too, but...
You mean about how he was treated, or what?
Yeah. But I think
I haven't read the story yet.
Did care for him. It's just, anyway, it's better like this guy did. They just come and go as they please. And if you're nice to them, they will keep coming. These birds, they keep coming. I don't have to do very much. I'll go get them some food now. Oh, here's your popsicle, and
thank you.
It's
like the deer in my yard.
Yeah.
I don't even feed them. They chow down. So many leaves in my trees. But I'm not chewing them all. To me, I like them as much as the trees. So, there are a few trees that they've maybe caused to die for lack of foliage and stuff like that. I don't know. It's I don't know what one neighbor thinks. He's a scumbag, but the neighbor on the other side says she likes seeing them out her kitchen window in my house. There were 4 of them out this morning. 2 in the backyard, 2 in the front yard. They look to be a couple.
Would you like some more soup too?
Yeah, I think I should really have some more soup. Anyway, there's some healthy ingredients in 10 minutes.
13.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
So we're looking at Canto 2. Hang it all, Robert Browning, there can be but one Sordello. But Sordello, and my Sordello, Lo sordo se fo de Mantovana, so shoe churned in the sea, seal sports in the spray-whited circles of cliff wash. Yeah, that's my reaction. This is a disaster. This Ezra Pound stuff. I'm considering that an objective review of Ezra Pound. Seal sports in the spray-whited circles of cliff wash. Sleekhead, daughter of Lear, eyes of Picasso, under black fur hood. Little daughter of ocean, and the wave runs in the beach groove. Eleanor, Elenaus, and Eleptolis, and poor old Homer, blind, blind as a bat, ear for the sea surge, murmur of old men's voices, let her go back to the ships, back among Grecian faces, lest evil come on our own, evil and further evil, and a curse cursed on our children. Moves, yes, she moves like a goddess, and as the face of a god, and the voice of Shirney's daughters, and doom goes with her in walking, let her go back to the ships, back among Grecian voices, and by the beach run, Tyro, twisted arms of the sea god, lithe the sinews of water gripping her crosshold, and the blue-gray glass of the wave tense them. Glare azure of water. I think that's supposed to be azure glare of water. This is roughly where we left off, I think. Cold welter, close cover, quiet sun tawny sand stretch. The gulls broad out their wings, nipping between the splay feathers. And why not splayed feathers? I don't know. Well, I guess he's saving the ED there, wasting your time and energy on circumlocutions and stuff like that in other places. Snipe come for their bath, bend out their wing joints, spread wet wings to the sun film, and by Skios, to the left of the Naxos passage, naviform rock overgrown, algae cling to its edge. There is a wine red glow in the shallows, a tin flash in the sun dazzle. Okay, and by the beach run, Tyro, twisted arms of the sea god. Hold on a second. Now, Tyro, is that twisted arms of the sea god? Have we got something in apposition here? An appositional phrase after Tyro? Twisted arms of the sea god. No, well, that's arms is plural. So where's this twisted arms of the sea god? Are they? Is that waves or something like that? Lithe sinews of water. So that's the sinews in the arms. Gripping her cross hold. I don't know, like cross hold. Is that form of something like a full Nelson or half Nelson or something like that? And the blue-gray glass. Try saying that more than 2 or 3 times. It might develop a permanent stutter. Of the wave tense them. Tense over them. Tense them. The tense. Okay. It's using a noun as a verb. That's okay. Glare azure of water. I think that's supposed to be azure glare of water. It's not English. Sit stands. Cold welter. Close cover. Period. So how have we got? I mean, by the beach run and why the and? Leave the and off. This guy loved and way too much. And. A good poet is not going to use and as much as this chimp used and. God, it gets annoying. And by the beach run, Tyro, twisted arms of the sea god, lithe sinews of water, gripping her crosshold. Now, is that a gripping her crosshold? I think that's like being used as an adverb. Crosshold. in a crosshold, something like that. Maybe it's a compound kind of verb. And the blue, because we're looking for a verb. We're going along, just running along without a verb. By the beach on Tayo, twisted arms of the sea god, lithe sinews of water, gripping her. Okay, gripping, we've got something, but gripping her, like grip her, gripping her, that's actually not, strictly speaking, a verb. We're looking for something in the present tense here, gripping her. It was gripping her, gripped her, something like that. Crosshold. And the blue-gray gloss of the wave tensive. There's the first real verb in there. Huh? Tensive. Something that actually has a tense. The tense has a tense. Gripping doesn't have a tense. You can use gripping when you're talking about the past tense, present tense, future tense, and stuff like that. Past perfect. Okay, glare azure of water. Okay, we're looking more of a close welter, close cover. Oh, so there's tensum. You have to wade through water, but also the 3 lines and almost all of a fourth line, second last word of a fourth line before you come to the verb, and then he throws in 3 more phrases: glare, azure of water, cold welter, close cover. Well, it's not so much phrases; it's just a listing. So then we're off again. Quiet Santani sand stretch. See, like he has this tendency to not like verbs, and I'm afraid this chimp is the guy who started this penchant that modern poets, modernists and postmodernists and whatever, have for not putting verbs in. And I think it comes from a misunderstanding of haiku. Wow, look at that! I've gone through 2 lines of the haiku and I haven't run across a verb, and I'm too lazy to get to the last line where the verb is, because Japanese is a subject-object-verb language. The verbs come at the end. Look at that! The Japanese don't have any verbs, and the stuff is so striking. Well, it's not striking, really. It's actually not that good. Haikus aren't that good. They're not that bad, especially if they're handled reasonably well. Quiet Sun Tawny Sand Stretch. Oh, God. The gulls brought out their wings. Oh, okay. So, quiet Sun Tawny Sand Stretch, the gulls brought out their wings. Really, I don't know what is really tying the first line I've just read with the gulls brought out their wings. Nipping between, stretch, I guess he's making a pun on stretch. Nipping between the splay feathers. Okay, so I don't have too much of a brought out their wings, spread out their wings, brought out their wings. I don't know. It's not that fantastic image or anything. Nipping between the splay feathers. Presumably grooming themselves. Snipe come for their bath. Bend out their wing joints. Okay, so here we're actually getting into some poetry here. Not poetry, prose. Poetic prose, maybe. Bend out their wing joints, what idiot sense pound have basically been saying poetry is. Spread wet wings to the sun film. Oh, wow, I mean, we're getting almost a verb every other line or something like that. Wow, that's not bad. And by Skios, to the left of the Naxos passage. So this is around the Cyclades, group of islands south of, I believe Naxos is one of these islands. I think Cyclades basically means wheel or circle or something like that. You can hear cycle in there. If you can, maybe try something else. Anyway, Naxos passage. Naviform rock overgrown. Oh, okay. Now we're back to this algae cling to its. Oh, finally we got a verb. And Biscius to the left of Naxos. Naviform rock overgrown. Like, what is that? Naviform would mean shaped like a ship or something like that. Does that make sense? Could be, I suspect, from Latin or Latin. Algae cling to its edge. Okay, there's a verb, cling. There is a wine. Wow, he actually uses is here. This might be a first for this stupid chimp. There is a wine red glow in the shallows. Tin flash in the sun dazzle. Okay, parts of that actually weren't that bad. The ship landed in Skill. Wow, he used the verb right at the, men wanting this. Okay, men wanting which men? The men wanting spring water. Men wanting spring water. Men in general. At least he doesn't. Beginning the line, he doesn't capitalize the M in men. The ship landed in Skios. Men wanting spring water. You know, like it's like pidgin English. The men. It should be more like the ship landed in Skios. The men wanted spring water. Men wanting spring water. What is that garbage? And by the rock pool, why does he put the in there? I don't know. He so often drops it out. But and by the rock pool, a young boy. He actually uses He doesn't say what's going on. Loggy with vine must. To Naxos, yes, we'll take you to Naxos. So, okay. The ship landed in Skios. Men wanting spring. We've got a verb there. And by the rock pool, a young boy loggy with vine must. See, like I was mentioning before, there is a wine red glow. He actually used the is. But here he doesn't say, and by the rock pool, a young boy, there was a young boy loggy with vine must. He just goes, and by the rock pool, a young boy loggy with vine must. Huh? You know, like where does that fit in? He's got it separated by commas from spring water and what follows. To Naxos? Yes, we'll take you to Naxos. Presumably these are the people on the ship. Come along, lad. Yeah. Come along. So come is, he puts C-U-M there, and he puts an apostrophe to indicate the dropping of the E. But he has along. So actually, if he's going to drop it should be taking the A off of it. Come along, lad. What an idiot. So, you know, like you say C-U-M, just the way you say C-O-M-E, it's stupid. It's stupid. If you're going to make it, if you're going to drop some stuff off, drop off the A. Well, people do that. This guy's such a chip. Not that way. That way is Nexus. Okay. So presumably this is kind of like a very loose translation of some sort of classical passage. I actually played soccer with a guy who said that. He's fresh over from Scotland. He'd actually been on the junior Scottish national team. He's very, very good. And but he'd say I for yes. You know, like that way is Naxos. Like who talks that way? We say Naxos is that way. That way is Naxos. It just sounds stilted. So you know, like maybe a sailor would say that. I don't know. They say I, or used to. And I said it's a straight ship. Okay. He actually has is, and he actually has said. And an ex-convict out of Italy knocked me into the force. He actually has a verb there. He was wanted for manslaughter in Tuscany. And yeah, that he does refer back to ex-convict. And the whole 20 against me. Yeah, what does that mean? And the whole 20 were against me? Put the verb in, Ezra! God, you're an ass. I'm going to say like a donkey, but maybe I mean something different. And the whole 20 against me. Mad for a little slave money. And they took her out